Man, you shot me. That's the first thing I remember about that night. January 15th, 1995. The night that my life changed forever. That is the night that I was shot at point blank range with a 380 in the stomach. It was predestined to happen. It was part of my story. It had to happen. If it didn't happen, I wouldn't be who I am now. I would be some knucklehead on another path, not committed and surrendered to God. So it had to happen. Matter of fact, it was good that I was afflicted so that I might learn his statutes. Psalms 119 and 71. So I'm going to give you a real quick testimony overview, mini podcast about the night I got shot. So after I got shot and I saw that pistol pointed at me and I heard the bang, and probably about 5-10 seconds later, I felt this excruciating pain. And I was like, you shot me. And all I wanted to do was ball up like a baby. And it felt like somebody took a hot fire poker, set it in a burning fire, and just poked me in the stomach with. The pain was excruciating. It was numbing. By that time, my adrenaline had taken over. And my partners were running over to me saying, Young is shot. Young got shot. And I was just sitting there thinking, what can I do to ease this pain? And I specifically remember my boy saying, hold on, Young. Hold on, my boy Smitty. Hold on, Young. I'm like, man, I just want to close my eyes. If I close my eyes, the pain will go away. If I close my eyes, I won't have to deal with this. But as they were shaking me and slapping me and trying to get me to stay awake, and I was closing my eyes and I was walking towards the light, and as I got to the end of the tunnel, I seen a dark corridor and a light corridor. And the next thing I know, the paramedics were setting a oxygen mask on my face and cutting my hockey. I had a Dallas Stars hockey jersey on. They were cutting my jersey off. And I just remember there was an encounter. But it's like God won't allow me to remember everything. But I do know that I encountered God at that time and at that place. And I believe he told me, you're not done yet. He's not done with you yet. I have work for you to do, right? He said the enemy meant this for evil. But God meant it for good, for the saving of lives. Genesis 50 and 20. And the reason I'm on social media doing what I'm doing and telling and crying loud and just telling everybody about how good God has been to me is because he's really been good to me. You don't know what it's like to close your eyes and not know if you're ever going to wake up again and see your family, to see your loved ones, to see your mom, to see your sister. But that was the situation I was in. And I went to surgery. And the next thing I know, I woke up with tubes everywhere and beep, 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 and the smell of the hospital. And I woke up and I saw my dad sitting to my right, reading the Bible. Looked like he had been crying. And I know he was praying because I kind of remember him speaking in tongues at that time. But I'm 24 years old, so I don't know. I know about God, but I really don't know God. But God will make you sit down. God will get your attention. God will pull you in when he wants you. So somebody that's watching this, you've been running a long time. And God has been throwing sign after sign after sign after sign at you. And you've been ignoring it. You just count it as circumstance, as a random happening. There is nothing random with God. When God wants you, he gets you. He wants to redeem you, right? So as I was sitting there and I just didn't know what was going on, and my dad was praying for me, and they saw me open my eyes. And so they came in and gave me a brief overview. Hey, Mr. Young, you survived a gunshot wound to the stomach. You're fine. But it's gonna be a long road to recovery. And we have morphine intravenously linked to you. So anytime the pain gets excruciating, you just hit the morphine and it's going to put you out, but it's controlled so that you won't overdose or become addicted to it. I had tubes here, tubes in my man parts, tubes here from my lungs and from my body. My stomach was wide open like a slab of beef. and they had some gauze, and they would pour saline in it, and it's had this tape. And my body, my skin was allergic to the tape. So I started getting boils the more they did it. So they had to figure out another way to do it because they were trying to close my insides back up, but my body was wide open. So I'm here to tell you, when God wants your attention, he will get it. But I want you to understand this, that the treasure of your trauma will actually be the triumph that'll take you where God wants you to go. He can give you treasure for that trauma. And it looks like this horrible thing that you're facing or you're about to go through. But God always has it worked out. And it was worked out before I was formed. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. So in the beginning, this was predestined to happen to me, to God to get my attention, to get me to a place where he has my total surrender. So you think that's the end of the story, I recover easily. But no, there's complications along the way. They can't break my fever. My temperature's 103, 104 degrees every night for about 3 or 4 days. And they are working feverishly and as much as they can, doing anything they can to break my fever. The bullet is lodged close to my spine. So they couldn't pull the bullet out because they were afraid I might be paralyzed if something went wrong with the surgery. So I still have that bullet lodged close to my spine. And every time I get an x-ray, they say, "What is that, sir?" That's a bullet. That's a reminder of God's grace, of God's mercy, of who God is. And not only that, I started forming blood clots in my lungs. So they had to go in and remove the blood clots. So again, after that surgery, 3 days later, I go have another surgery to remove the blood clots from my lungs. And they want me to get up every day and walk to try to get back in shape. But I don't want to do nothing because the pain is just excruciating. And I'm sitting here like, Lord, why did this happen to me? But I deserved it to happen to me because I was not taking heed to God's call. I was hardening my heart, thinking that I had all the time in the world. So to somebody listening to this or watching this, you don't have all the time in the world. You don't think you have as much time as you have. And it's very arrogant for us to think that we'll get to God when we get to God. When we do what we want to, we'll get to God as an afterthought. But God is nobody's afterthought. And he shouldn't be your afterthought. So start thinking through your life, the context clues God has given you, the red flags, the flashing lights that you're seeing in your life, and say, God, I see what you're doing. I know you want my attention. Redeem me. And redemption starts with a journey of transformation. But you need to renew your heart. You need to change your mind. Renew your heart, renew your mind, and start letting God change your life. So after that surgery, I began the long road to recovery. And the doctor came in and told me the story. And even in this situation, God rode the bullet into my flesh and navigated it through my system. The only organ in my body that the bullet hit was my liver. And the liver can repair itself. Bruh, you don't even understand. The liver can repair itself. It missed my aorta by about a centimeter, the doctor told me. And I remember his name was Dr. Subdue. I remember him. Darnell Army Community Hospital, Fort Hood, Texas. And they're trying to wean me off the morphine, but the pain is still just excruciating. They're still coming in, changing the gauze, trying to get my insides to close up. Because you literally could come and open me up and just look inside my body. This was January 15th, 1995. Now, 30 years later, I'm here telling you about how good God is, what type of God he is. He's a healer. He's a deliverer. So when you see me doing what I'm doing it for a reason. It's part of my assignment because I ran from God for so long. To somebody who's running from God, stop running. Say, God, I surrender. I'm here. I no longer want to run from you. I want to bask in your glory and your mercy and what it is that you want to do for me. God wastes nothing. Everything that you've gone through in your life has been orchestrated. It's been designed by God to get you where he wants you to be. And if you get that faith of a mustard seed and you believe that God will not mismanage your life, God will get you where he wants you to go if you allow him to do it. I've survived car wrecks. I survived a van almost sliding off a cliff in Great Falls, Montana with my mom. Literally, I survived attacks on my entire family. Since that time, that was 95. My father died in 2000. My sister died in 2012. Do you know what that probably would have did to my mama? She would have been crazy. The whole family would have been canceled out. But it was a reason that the enemy is trying to cancel my bloodline. And it's a reason that the enemy is trying to stop you. Because there's something that God has put in you that he doesn't want you to realize who you are, whose you are, and what you're put here for. You're not put here by mistake. You're not put here by chance. You're put here for a specific reason, for a specific purpose, to help a specific people, a group of people. When you realize that and you understand who God is and what he wants you to do, and you start walking in the authority of his word, you are going to be a problem. And the enemy doesn't want you to be a problem. He wants to destroy everything within you before you understand who you are and you unlock your superpower. So I just wanted to give you guys just a brief testimony. Again, this is 30 years. I've survived gunshot wounds. I've survived car wrecks. I've survived losing loved ones. Just in the matter of the last 3 months, I lost my grandfather. I lost one of my favorite aunts. I've lost a mentor. But it lets me know that I cannot stop. I will not waste time. I will do something with the dash in between the start and the end of my life. We start how we start. If we finish with God and we walk in purpose and we make decisions based on where we want to go and who God wants us to be, and not on emotions, and we let God's principles guide us each and every day of our life. I am put here for men and others, specifically men, to help you to become the Genesis 1:28 version of who God designed you to be fruitful, to multiply, to subdue, to have dominion. So when you see me walking around here doing what I'm doing and be like, he get on my nerves, you don't know my story. You don't know what I've been through. I'm a bastard child that they wanted my mom to abort. So from the beginning, the enemy is trying to stop me from getting to this earth and doing the very thing that God placed me on this earth to do. But I will do what God wants me to do because I'm in the secret place of the Most High. And I'm going to abide under the shadow of the Almighty. He is my rock. He's my fortress. He's my everything. And the devil cannot pluck you out of God's hand when you surrender yourself to him. It's just been a brief testimony of the night that I got shot and some of the things that I went through. I will continuously share my story over the coming year so you know a little bit more about who I am. But this has been an episode of the Genesis, the first episode of 2025. It's your boy CY. Hey, remember, who you want to become, you must first be it. It's your boy CY, and I'm gone.